P3 Theater Company, in association with the Del Shores Foundation and Beard Collins Shores Productions, presents the world premiere of The Red Suitcase.
Audiences must come to P3 Theater Company's world premiere production of The Red Suitcase because it promises to be a live theatrical event like no other. Get off that couch, turn off your Netflix, your Hulu, your streaming apps that are stealing money from our SAG-AFTRA actors, and get to the live theater, support live theater. The live theater needs you, our audiences. And this production in particular is such a story that is told like no other. You will be moved by this story. You will be entertained. You will be whisked away to a world that you never could have imagined. And the stunning beauty that will be put on the stage by our design team, our lighting, projections, sound, costume and props, wigs, it's going to transform you into this world of Pogue's journey through life. And it's one you're going to definitely want to be a part of. Hi, I'm Jon Peterson, Executive Artistic Director and founder of P3 Theater Company. And if you want to find out more about our world premiere production of The Red Suitcase by Jiggs Burgess, watch this interview. So last summer, as I was going about my business and perusing the internet and looking up, what do I need to know to exist in the world of theater here, came across information that the Del Shores Foundation was going to hold I believe it was their very first Writers Festival in Dallas, Texas. And in this festival, what they were going to be doing was staged readings, or really more like concert style readings, where you sit with music stands and the scripts in front of you and reading the play of The Red Suitcase among the winners in other categories. And well, I think at that point, if I remember my timeline correctly, we had been selected to produce it, but it was not announced. So I thought, well, I've got to get myself to Dallas, Texas and attend this Writers Festival. Number one, to support the Del Shores Foundation, but number two, to see the words that I've only read on paper, to see them acted out by actors, even if in just a sitting in a row style setting, to hear other people speak these words. And so I made my plans. I went out to Dallas, Texas, took a couple friends, and we attended a few segments of this really neat Writers Festival. They had different panelists, different interview sections, and of course, the readings of these different works of art. And the highlight of the weekend for me was getting to hear the words of The Red Suitcase spoken by some really terrific actors. I cried when I read the script. I cried when I saw this first reading. It is that powerful of a piece of theater. And the really cool part of that was at the end of the reading, Del Shores and Emerson Collins called me down onto the stage, where we got to make the announcement that P3 Theater was going to, in fact, be producing theater company to turn this into a world premiere event. So very, very excited. I mentioned that there was some extraordinary talent in that cast, and in the reading, the lead character of the play, his name is Pogue, and Emerson Collins, whose name I've mentioned, he played the role of Pogue. It was sheer perfection. I think when I went down to the stage and they called me down there to make the announcement, I gave him a hug and I said to him, because I had never seen him as an actor, I only knew him as a producer and a program manager. I said, "You are so beep talented." So he was the head of that cast, along with Kristen McCullough, who played the role of April. We had Bruce Molina, who was Bud, and Charlotte White as Grandmother Evans. Those are the four lead characters in the actual play, and they were tremendous. And P3 Theater has been lucky enough that Emerson Collins is Los Angeles based, so we cast him without question. Kristen McCullough, who played April, last year moved to Pasadena. I think it's Pasadena, so she's a local. And then we were lucky enough to get Charlotte White and Bruce Molina to come out from Dallas to reprise their roles and to be the actors in the world premiere production. So excited for that. And to having been a part of that whole weekend of festivals and that evening of that play being read for the very first time on a stage. Jiggs Burgess as a playwright is something you don't come across very often. Uh, I, as a reader of books and plays through my whole life, I've always put myself into a story, into one of the characters in the story. Usually it's a narrative character. Um, and his plays are written such that you can very easily uh, find yourself in the story. They're real, they're honest, uh, they are comedy mixed with tragedy in many cases. But really, it's the reality. And no matter what the topic is in his scripts, of which I've read several to this point, we've actually produced another play that he wrote called Wounded for the Hollywood Fringe Festival. Um, but no matter what the topic is or what's happening in the story, anybody can relate to it. Maybe not directly to what's happening, but there's something that's happened, I guarantee it, in your life or in their life that they relate to the emotions, to the physical actions that are happening. So relatable, so real, so tangible. Uh, and it really it's powerful, beautifully written. I mean, as an actor, being able to say the words, I've read opposite people who have auditioned for it, so I've been able to actually speak the words myself. It's just natural. Uh, there's no contrived twisting of words where it's kind of out of the scope of the story. It's just everything drives the story in his scripts. There's no superfluous, I think might be the right word, verbiage happening. It's just it's real and it comes from the heart. The Red Suitcase is a story that takes us on a journey of a young boy by the name of Pogue, who has a less than traditional childbirth and nurse and doctor who birth him. I'm not going to give any spoiler alerts, but it's there. I have mentioned about Jiggs Burgess' work that there is comedy woven between the tragedy to offer moments of levity to his work. It was a very non-traditional childbirth, and it takes us on the journey of Pogue, who lives in a very non-traditional, non-mainstream middle America family. Takes us on the journey from his childhood up into his adulthood, and takes us on the journey where we believe that we are the sins of our ancestors to we are the hope of our ancestors. Uh, the Red Suitcase really explores the relationship between a father and a son, between a grandmother and her grandchild, between siblings, and between community. A lot of things, whether we relate to them directly or indirectly, this whole story is just filled with symbolism and happenings in life that are so relatable and so real to, I would say, really any of us. So I've mentioned that the Red Suitcase explores this relationship between this boy up through manhood, between him and his father, him and his mother, grandmother, siblings, community, but it's a very small cast. The core principal characters are the mother, father, grandmother, and the son, Pogue. But the other characters in the play range from the nurse and doctor when Pogue was born, to elementary school teacher, to first love, to brothers, to policemen, to even a dog for that matter. And all of those characters, which really offers a unique approach to a play, all of those characters are played by three actors. It's done in a style. There are certain narrative elements of the play which I really like. You've got the actual action happening and the actual dialogue, but then you'll have actors and characters step out of those moments to narrate what's happening or about to happen. So these three ensemble actors really have a job cut out for them, in that they are not only wearing these multiple character hats throughout the story, but they're also driving the story with their narrative, as does Pogue. Pogue is actually another one of the main character, the only main character that steps out of being Pogue to narrate, and he's actually really telling his story. So it's just such a unique approach, and one that couldn't be done without extraordinary talent, which is what we have in our cast. Really amazing to go through the rehearsal process of this and watch the growth of these actors into these different characters that literally change at the drop of a hat. I would love for the audience members that come to see the Red Suitcase to have a couple of hours that whisk them out of their worlds into somebody else's world, to live the story that's being told, and to ultimately be entertained. Uh, but also to realize and to be able to connect to parts of Pogue's journey, and honestly realize that they're not alone in this world with things that have happened in their lives. These are all relatable topics that happen throughout this story. So there's definitely an entertainment value, but there's a level of comfortability that I want the audiences to feel and to walk out. It's a powerful piece. It's not a tap dance and show tune singing musical. It's a piece that really touches the heart and the soul. And for people to be able to be a part of that and be entertained by that is definitely what I hope for our audiences. I think our audiences will be most surprised by the way in which they are drawn into the story. And it's not just by the words that were written, but it's by the performances of the actors. For example, I mentioned there are three actors that are playing multiple roles throughout. You are introduced to each individual character, and this is because of the direction and the talent of these actors. You are introduced to each of these individual different characters as if it's the first time you've seen that character slash actor. So, for example, the three actors are Matt Hayes, Tiago Santos, and Pam Trotter that play multiple roles in the production. Every time you see Pam Trotter come onto stage, or Matt Hayes or Tiago as one of these different characters, you're not seeing Pam Trotter, Matt, or Tiago. You are seeing this character. And it's as if you've seen that person for the first time. It's really such a surprising and amazing thing that's been done. So while you have these three tremendous actors that portray multiple characters throughout, I've mentioned that there are four main characters in our production that are played by Emerson Collins, Kristen McCullough, Bruce Molina, and Charlotte White as a family unit, as it were. And they play those same characters throughout. And they're not just playing those characters over a period of a summer or a couple of years. There's quite a time span. I want to say the time span in this show is close to 30 years, maybe. So you've got the character of Pogue, who starts as a young boy, and by the end of the play, he's in adulthood. And the believability in aging that these actors are able to bring to the stage, without having the luxury of AI or film where you can stop, cut, and wigs, makeup, come in here and make this person look 30 years older. A lot of that is done in their acting ability, and again in the direction and how it's portrayed. Seamless, and it seems effortless as a spectator of this story, to watch this growth, this progression in time. And the relationships as they change and shift over the years, the relationship between Pogue and his father, between Pogue and his grandmother. It's just truly, it's a delight. One of my favorite things about Del Shores, other than plays that he's written, is his ability as a director to be an actor's director, to be able to relate to the actors and how to get the best out of them. Being able to watch his process with the assistant direction of Blake McIver Ewing, which that's a whole nother piece of art there, is watching his assistant director, step in to help sometimes translate what Dell is trying to get across or bring his vision in to enhance. It's amazing. And Dell's ability to bring out a character, to bring a character out of an actor, it's another work of art. To sit in the room as someone who has been an actor most of my adult life, to watch this process, and it's amazing, and to see the transformation of these actors who are already very talented and experienced, but to see Dell be able to bring them to a new level, to bring them to try things that they've maybe never tried before, is quite amazing. And it is an extreme honor to have this show helmed by both Del Shores as our director and Blake McIver Ewing as our assistant director, who's also creating a lot of additional staging to really liven and enhance the story. Audiences must come to P3 Theater Company's world premiere production of The Red Suitcase because it promises to be a live theatrical event like no other. Get off that couch, turn off your Netflix, your Hulu, your streaming apps that are stealing money from our SAG-AFTRA actors, and get to the live theater, support live theater. The live theater needs you, our audiences. And this production in particular is such a story that is told like no other. You will be moved by this story. You will be entertained. You will be whisked away to a world that you never could have imagined. And the stunning beauty that will be put on the stage by our design team, our lighting, projections, sound, costume and props, wigs, it's going to transform you into this world of Pogue's journey through life. And it's one you're going to definitely want to be a part of. Hi, I am Jon Peterson, Executive Artistic Director and founder of P3 Theater Company. If you want more information about our theater company or on how to get tickets to our upcoming world premiere of The Red Suitcase by Jiggs Burgess, then visit our website at www.p3theater.biz. That's P3THEATRE.biz. See you at the theater.